Chad Hennings, ladies and gentlemen, is a three-time Super Bowl champion. Chose, instead of getting the free ride, well, I guess it's technically a free ride, but it ain't a free ride. But instead of taking the free ride to universities when he graduated high school, he chose to enter the Air Force Academy. And he did his time, flew jets and ran missions, et cetera, served his country, and then came back and played for the Dallas Cowboys, which is the only team that he has played for. He'll be in town as part of Flags for Heroes, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Chad Hennings on the line now. Good morning, Chad.
Good morning, gentlemen, and I don't know about the one and only thing, but
well,
it's good to be with you this morning.
There might be another one out there. I know that that's possible, but not with the bio you have. So, just for the record. So when you went off, were we in the midst of a war at that point?
When I went,
when you went in the Air Force, were we at war? I went in
the Air Force Academy in 1984.
Okay.
So we're in the middle of the Cold War against the Soviets, and during the Reagan years and military buildup, and it was a great time to be in the military at that time because it wasn't a lot of your training hours were real live, flying the jets, etc. So it was. So
you did your time because the Gulf War is what I'm looking at. If you went in 87, the Gulf War would have come like 91.
91.
Yeah.
And that was, I had just finished Air Force Academy, graduated, finished pilot training. I was in my first year of active duty flying A-10s over in England, where we would forward deploy to Germany, Central European scenario, and we got tasked to fly missions out of Incirlik, Turkey, in the northern part of Iraq, in support of the Kurds. And it was part of Operation Provide Comfort. We provided protection for the Kurds, and we were dropping relief supplies to them as... If you recall, that's when Saddam Hussein the year previous had dropped mustard gas on them, and they were fleeing their villages and their towns and going up in the mountains, and we were there to protect them.
So I want to ask you, first of all, coming to town as part of this event is awesome. The Good News Center puts this on every year, and
it's beautiful.
Flags, flags, a sea of flags along the parkway. It's an awesome sight, and to happen at Veterans Day is incredibly awesome. But there's a lot going on today, Chad. I don't have to tell you that. But I am curious that here's someone that you chose the military over a free ride to college, then were able to come back and still fulfill your dreams and your goals. You did play for the Air Force. Did you play football for the Air Force?
Yeah, I was at the Air Force Academy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, when our military goes, they're fighting for our freedom. And one of those freedoms is freedom of expression, freedom to be able to speak out, freedom to be able to protest. And it's a bit of an oxymoron when you think about it. But what are your thoughts on Colin Kaepernick and then what this year has become? Where are you?
Well, I'll try to work it from 20,000 feet on down.
Yeah, there's a big question.
No, I believe that a lot of the individuals, unfortunately, are playing off as political pawns by a already divided nation, and it's unfortunate. It's very disheartening for me. I fully believe in people have the right to protest, but bad form to protest during the one thing that should unify us and pull us together is by our flag, by our national anthem, and those are the two things that everybody should respect. You just don't protest that. And unfortunately at times, as we're sitting here talking about a Veterans Day event, that veterans take that personally because many individuals, whatever branch of military service that you did serve in, you put yourself into harm's way. You willingly raised your hand and said, I will defend that. And then when you have people smite that, it's a blow. And it's very disheartening, and I just... there's other forms of doing it. I think that the NFL was very reactionary, and they could have been more proactive in their leadership. And I place this on the shoulders of Roger Goodell and being able to do that.
You know the news out today, right? With Jerry Jones here.
Yeah, willing to sue. I saw that.
But and it could have been corrected, right? This could have, if they would have taken care of this issue during when Kaepernick first, they could have addressed this, and this would not even exist.
I think they could have been more proactive, but truthfully, with certain individuals and powers that be, I don't know if individuals want it. to be. I don't know if they would have offered them an out if they would have taken it, because squeaky wheel gets the most grease.
Yeah.
They're going to get the most PR for whatever their personal agenda might be, and right now it's just devolved into chaos and anarchy.
And it's only football, by the way.
It's only football, but people are passionate about it. People want to watch sports. They want to go be entertained at movies and not be preached to about a political agenda. That's where they're trying to escape. They get enough of that on social media and if they watch other forms of media.
There's no doubt about it.
Can I ask as well, in the 90s, were they playing the national anthem before games? Because I heard something the other day that it was maybe, I'm sure they did before Super Bowls and things, but that maybe this is a newer thing that we didn't.
I think it was post-Gulf War. I mean, I remember in radio, and I'll let you answer this, Chet. I realize I'm not being interviewed here. I'm sorry.
No.
But I remember during the Gulf War, we started playing the national anthem at 6 o'clock in the morning. Radio used to always play the national anthem at sign-on, and then that went away when we went 24/7.
Right.
But we began playing it there, and that might have started back then. But Chad, you were there. You would know.
Yeah, and it's we did. We stood up for the national anthem, but the thing is, the media or the television
didn't cover it.
Didn't cover it.
Okay.
And I can remember. I'm old enough that I remember when television would sign off, the national anthem would be playing, or "God Bless America," and then when we would attend movies on base, on a military base, we'd always stand at attention before the movie played with the national anthem playing. So and again, it's unfortunate and it's disheartening that we, particularly our young kids, have to see this, and well, good that they ask questions.
Well, it is unfortunate that they have to see it, but I do think we learn from it. This is an interesting story. My wife is a first grade teacher, and yesterday they were. This week is all lessons and tied around the curriculum. Teaching about veterans and with Veterans Day coming up. But this is the craziest story. So she had, 18 kids in her classroom, first graders. And Chad, they were writing off, they were creating something for the Veterans Day ceremony today that they were going to wear in. It might have been a flower or something. Anyway, they're sitting there doing this project. And one of the kids starts singing America, God Bless America. And this is completely random. Then another kid started singing. My wife then hits the phone and starts recording. And within like a minute, all the kids in the class were singing that song. It was like a tear-jerking moment. I couldn't believe it. She played it for me last night. I couldn't bring it in because, of course, the rules. But there's hope, Chad. I think there's hope. These are just little kids.
Amen to that. That brought a tear to my eye, too.
Honest to God. I'm going to, when we're done, I want to send you the video. It's really incredible. I got to get my wife's permission to do that. Maybe I won't. She might tell me I can't. You know how it is out there today, Chad.
Yes,
okay, so let's see. What do we want to talk about? Your career. Well, how hard was it to make the decision to say, I got a free ride here, I got a free ride here, I'm playing NCAA football, I'm going to go into the Air Force?
Well, the one anomaly, I guess, the way that I like to straighten, nothing's for free. I mean, you owe somebody something. And I went to the Air Force Academy knowing full well that I would have had a minimum of a 5-year military commitment post-graduation. I had success there playing football, All-American, won the Outland Trophy, was drafted by the Cowboys, but I knew full well going in that I would have a commitment to serve. So upon graduating from the academy, I never had any expectation to play in the NFL whatsoever. So I went on through pilot training, served, and then, after the Gulf War, Armed Forces went through reduction in force, and across the board, they waived commitment, not just for me, but for many individuals. So a lot of my peers that were pilots went to fly for the airlines, and I, raised my hand and said, I could go play for the Dallas Cowboys. So I resigned my regular commission, took a reserve commission, and I was still serving in the Air Force Reserves when I was playing for the Dallas Cowboys. So I still kept my hand in it, and I was still proud to wear the uniform. And I'm just proud of the guys that serve today, and this is where I'm so grateful to speak at functions such as Flags for Heroes to honor not just our veterans, but our first responders too, men and women who willingly put themselves in harm's way to protect us.
Well, the when everybody's running away, they're running towards the whatever horrific thing they're running towards. Andrew.
And Chad, I'd imagine, first of all, thank you for your service and all that you've done. But do you feel like your military service helped you in the NFL when it comes to discipline, especially? I think one of the big problems a lot of coaches are facing nowadays, you have these young kids that have attitude problems or don't want to work with their teammates and stuff like that. Do you feel like the military kind of helped you get over that hump?
You know, I joked with my teammates when I came. I said, you know, I had a real job before I came here. But no, the maturity level, I was flying missions in northern Iraq. So, you know, what type of pressure was I going to get, you know, in a media interview or, you know, the plays on the line? You know, I've already been there, done that to a different level where you truly did put yourself in a position, potential life-threatening positions. But, no, I think I'm glad that I was able to serve. I matured physically, I matured emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all the way across the board. And by the time I got to the NFL, I was 26, 27 years old. So I was, you know, a grown man by the time and not just a fresh kid coming out of college.
Yeah.
When you what do you think about the whole concussion problem that is plaguing the NFL, and you just think about all of these guys that have had multiple concussions and they're suffering from it? What are your thoughts?
I think you know, first of all, we need to get the guys help that need it. But this aspect that football is the cause of CTE and football is the cause of all these post-career or post-life maladies, I think is a fallacy, and it's the brain can heal itself from concussions. We didn't enforce the concussion protocols, you know, when I was coming up in the 70s and the 80s, you know, most certainly in the 90s. Now football is as safe as it's ever been. And the research coming out is the brain can heal itself, but it's that secondary and tertiary concussions that they get when a player goes back too soon.
Right, okay.
That's the thing. And actually, you know, the incidences of, you know, the equipment's getting bigger, or as players are getting bigger, faster, stronger, you know, the equipment is there, but it's always teaching coaching technique. And I love the quote that Mike Dick had said years ago. He said, if you want to cure this concussion thing, put leather helmets back on the guys because they're not going to lead with their head.
You're so right.
Yeah, I think a lot of times that's just it. I grew up in Iowa, and I was a wrestler. And I did a lot of the way that I would tackle and engage players was kind of how I would wrestle, and I never would stick my head in there the first thing to when I tackle a player. So it's a lot of it is, you know, potentially technique, but when there is an injury, the protocols, and if the coaches and the medical staff adhere to the protocols, players are safe.
By the way, I'm checking. I don't see cauliflower ear on you, so
I wore the headgear.
That's a good sign.
One of the questions that comes from that is, do you think there was a story earlier this year about Tom Brady's wife coming out and saying that he's had multiple concussions? Do you think some of the NFL teams are kind of turning a blind eye to some of the top tier players?
In regards to what? Allowing them to play too long? Or
even if, you know, ignoring some of the typical concussion protocol?
No, well, I hope not. And
well, now
I can't
especially.
answer that. I can only answer to my own personal experience and to what I have seen. But, you know, this is why if you want to rule, you take a third-party individual, a third-party physician that would be on the sidelines to put the player through the concussion protocols, to take it out of the hands of the team and the coach. Mm-hmm. That way it's going to be a total unbiased for the betterment of the player. And you need to take it out of the player's hands, too, because I can tell you I've been injured. You know, I've probably had my bell rung a few times where I wanted to get back in there and play. And you need to take it completely out of the players, the coaches, and the team's hands. Mm-hmm. So that's why you need to have a third-party physician or medical practitioner on the sidelines.
Do you like the pop-up, the tent that pops up?
There's some of privacy tent.
Some of that is for. I just think some of that's for show.
Well, it very well would be, but it's when you put the player through the concussion protocol. You know, you don't want individuals or the media particularly to see and to take pictures because that is a personal, private thing.
Understood. So quickly, if you could, I know we've probably used up all of our time here, but you have you're coming to town. We're going to get to that and this great event. But you have some you have books out as well, and you have
Yes, I do. I have my last book. I wrote a book on because of kind of this topic that we've been talking about. What what I think I'm going to be speaking about at the function for the Flags for Heroes is a concept of identity. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I wanted to share is that part of identity is your character, and it's a choice as to who you are. So a book I wrote was called Forces of Character, where I sat down and had conversation with 10 people that impacted my life in one form or fashion. Some names you'd recognize: Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman, Jason Garrett, coach for the Spurs, Greg Popovich, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. I interviewed an astronaut, a survivor of Auschwitz, an international human rights attorney from former communist Romania, CEO for National Center on Fathering, and a homelessness expert, because I wanted to show that character is ubiquitous: male, female, black, white, all different individuals along the economic scale, and how character impacted them. And it's, their individual stories. And for me, that's something that I want to continue to espouse. From my background of serving in the military, going to a service academy, that's the legacy I want to leave for my kids, is that it doesn't matter your accomplishments, what you do for a living, but your identity is the key. Yeah. What you do does not define who you are.
Right. That's all. And that's available all over the place, Amazon and.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so on Saturday, this is at about 3:30. The ceremony is going to begin at the Parkway Center. You'll be speaking, and there'll be a sea of flags stretching across the Parkway in Utica. It's really a beautiful sight. And what you'll be—that's what you'll be talking about on Saturday.
I'll be there at 3:30, a little before. Yeah. Meeting people. So if anybody in that area is a Cowboys fan, not sure which side you guys go to, but would be happy to say hello to folks and shake your head, take photos, and just honor our veterans and our first responders.
That's pretty awesome.
I was going to say this. I obviously can't stand the Cowboys as a Giants fan, but how do you not? I just have a tremendous amount of respect for you for what you did. You put the country first, and then you went on to your professional career. And I know the money isn't the same as it is today, what you guys were making in the 90s, but to make that sacrifice, again, not a Cowboys fan, but I certainly have a lot of respect for you.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much.
I'm a Bills fan, so you know how I feel. We've been denied by the Dallas Cowboys. Chad Hennings, listen, again, the important thing is what you've done for the country, and the fact that you go around and do these events. It's really big. It's inspiring for a lot of people, and thanks for taking the time this morning.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Cool. Thank you.
Good day.
Chad Hennings, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys. That event will be happening right around 3 o'clock. You can head over there. The beauty is you're going to be able to walk right up to him and get an autograph and what have you. And Davey loves getting you have your picture with a lot of different.
You got quite the collection.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to add this to your list.
Even though he's a Dallas Cowboys fan, he's an NFLer, I'm going to add it to my list.
You're going to be there. Flags for Heroes. By the way, it's 8 days of display of 1,000 full-size American flags displayed across the Parkway in honor and in the memory of veterans, heroes, and first responders. These flags are displayed between, it's underway
they're up
now.
I saw them yesterday. Beautiful.
Up until Sunday on the 12th. And, of course, Veterans Day is Saturday. The community is invited to get involved and go over and take some photos and see it. But to be there for the ceremony on Saturday, which kicks off officially at 3:30 at Utica's Parkway Center. And, of course, Chad Hennings will be there. Pretty awesome.